Our next guest is on the front lines of the crisis. Pinal County, Arizona Sheriff Mark Lamb in your county. And is it getting busier?
Jonathan, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's busy and it's getting busier. And what we see is a lot of what you showed. You saw that video of that car running from Texas DPS. My guys had a traffic stop just the other day. While they were asking the driver questions, he got a little bit, his story wasn't adding up. We asked to do a consent to search. He took off. We had to spike his car 3 times. We popped all his tires. He was still going 80 miles per hour on the rims. We finally did a pit maneuver. When we finally got him stopped, we heard pounding from the trunk. He had a juvenile illegal in the trunk of his car. We believe he was there without his consent as well. This is what we see every day, and plus the rescues. Right. That's another thing we deal with.
And Sheriff, it strikes me that as we move towards the election here, there will be a message sent from the human smugglers who want to make more money by getting more people up to and across the border, that those who want to come to the U.S. better do it now in case President Trump wins, because by any objective measure, they believe that President Trump is tougher on illegal immigration. So you are going to get even more of a surge this summer, perhaps, than last summer. Would that be a fair reading?
Absolutely. You're exactly right. They're going to push, because if they see that the gravy train might come to an end, they're going to try to encourage as many people as possible to show up to the border, to overwhelm this country, to get as many people in as possible. And look, we're already seeing it. We're seeing more, 500% increase in family units. We're seeing 121% increase in unaccompanied minors. And we get really concerned because the Tucson sector leads the way in gotaways. These are the people that don't want to be caught, that come in here in camouflage clothes, carpet shoes, and they pay the cartels a lot of money to be trafficked in undetected.
Sheriff, what do you say to the accusation that is made by some on the Democratic side against President Trump and others that there are Republicans who don't want to do anything to ameliorate, to improve this issue over the next few months because it's a good issue to campaign on? Is there any merit to the argument that Republicans are holding back progress in stemming the tide?
No, the Democrats are trying to deflect the blame off of themselves, and they're the ones that deserve it. This administration, Joe Biden, Mayorkas, they're the ones that have created this problem, and their failure to secure our border has been what's furthered this problem. The Republicans aren't responsible for it. We don't control. Well, we haven't controlled Congress in the first 2 years. We do this year. We still don't control the Senate. And that bill that they tried to run, which is what they're blaming Republicans for, was a garbage bill. There's a lot of bad things in there, and it wasn't a border bill. It was lumped in with Ukraine and some other global funding. That's what they're going to continue to do, to try to deflect this off of themselves. It's part of the reason why I'm running for the U.S. Senate. There's only so much I can do at the sheriff level. We've got to fix these issues back in Washington, D.C., and I look forward to being in the Senate and helping President Trump hopefully be able to do that.
Sheriff, there's a lot of talk about what can be done in the future, but very specifically, what could be done, say, on the border? Now, I know you sit above the border, Pinal County. You're between Tucson and Phoenix, big corridor for migrants coming in, obviously. But on the border itself, what could be done right now, this coming week, to change the situation there?
Well, Texas shows that messaging matters. They control a 2-mile piece of that border with the barbed wire, but their messaging is said, if you come into our state, we're going to hold you accountable. And look at it, it's reduced the flow to a trickle. Now it's pushed over into Arizona. Why? Because we haven't changed our narrative. If this administration would have changed the narrative and say, you cannot come here. If you do, we will hold you accountable. We're going to force Title VIII on you, and we're not going to let you make false asylum claims as well. That would help tremendously. As far as what we can do once we take back power, once this administration's out, we can restore the Remain in Mexico program, take the handcuffs off of Border Patrol, let them do their job, and keep people from coming into this country illegally.
Does the messaging really make a difference, though, if the cartels are telling them, we'll get you across?
Yeah, it does. Look, the cartels aren't trying as hard in Texas. They're coming over to Arizona and California, where it's a lot easier, or New Mexico. They are still pushing people through Texas, but not to the extent they were. So, yeah, I would have to say that messaging does matter. The proof is in the numbers.
Sheriff Mark Lamb, great to have your expertise today, sir. Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Thank you, Jonathan. Happy Easter.